kick us off on YouTube?
Kick it, Daddy. Can people see that?
Yes, they can.
And that is what you call an intro.
But that's how you get the view count up. So,
okay.
Hello, everyone joining us live on YouTube. Welcome to Saturday Night Marvel. This is my weekly excuse to pretend like I have a social life. This is the Hurricane Ida edition. So we are all hunkered down currently in Louisiana, attempting to avoid the storm, ride out the storm. Right. So we have a panel discussion here for you tonight. So joining me are Tonight We Marvel OG alumni. We've got Mr. Cullen, we've got Mr. Cody, and fellow newcomer and brother from another mother, BFF, just all-around good guy, Mr. John David. Welcome to Saturday Night Marvel, everyone.
What's going on? What's going on?
So normally we've been kicking it off with a bit of a monologue, but slow news week from Marvel. One thing that did happen, though, is we got the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, which we will be discussing shortly. So the one joke I wrote off of this goes as follows. On Monday, eager fans were finally rewarded with the first teaser trailer from Spider-Man No Way Home. The trailer ends with Alfred Molina's Doc Ock saying, "Hello, Peter." This has left many fans to wonder if he is addressing Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, or his penis. More to come.
Jimmy's John.
So following on that note, what does everyone think about our teaser trailer? Are you hooked? Were you disappointed? Did it live up to the hype?
John, I'm going to let you go first on this one, bud.
Well, I mean, I think it was, the greatest balls that Marvel could have given us, my friend. Like, there's some things that I'm curious about, that Doctor Strange scene knocking Peter out of his body, the hints that it possibly be a Venom. I saw a black suit in there. I have questions, I have curiosity, and I'm itching for more.
Cool.
All right, fine. I'll talk about Spider-Man. I've been waiting. We've all been waiting for that trailer for probably most of our adult lives. I was just happy to get anything that didn't look like an 8-year-old took a video of a video on someone's phone. So that was really good news. But for me, dude, I probably watched it more than any trailer that I've watched since Endgame or Infinity War. I'm elated for it. I love that they gave us oh my god, we now have confirmation of a true multiverse with Melina, but we still don't see Toby, we still don't see Andrew. They leave so much open, and as Tom Holland alluded to himself, this is the tip of the iceberg. We literally have not seen shit, so I'm stoked.
So do you believe the rumors that we have Toby and we have Andrew in this movie?
I believe them firmly.
Wow. The very first feeling that I got when I saw this trailer was, wow, we're already on the third installment of a Tom Holland Spider-Man. And we've already seen this man in, 3 other films besides that? This is, it was just an old feeling setting in for me. In regards to, I remember the very first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man coming out. I believe somewhere in my house that the VHS still exists for it. I know some of our YouTubers won't understand what that means.
As well does exist your cardboard cutout of James Franco.
Yeah, it does. It's
as seen in This Is the End.
It's in that attic right there.
Riverside is crashing.
but I don't want to. I don't want to get my hopes super up right now. I do want to kind of lead myself into the feeling of we might be getting duped right now.
I do agree with the duping for sure,
Oh,
and that Kyle is temporarily
out of
not with
here.
us. Yeah.
Kyle, it was good meeting you, man.
Yesterday we marveled. Tonight I don't know what we do.
I think it's finally time to meet Mephisto.
Mm.
Yeah, dude, I agree, man. But I don't. So my feelings with that is WandaVision left the door open for him.
Yeah.
They led us to believe every single moment in that franchise in that show that Mephisto was coming, and then he didn't. And now we're seeing the devil in disguise and these sorts of things in this trailer. I feel like it's going to be kind of like the third time's a charm. I think he's going to come in a multiverse of madness. I think that'll be the earliest that we see him.
Yeah, I like that theory. I know that we're like so. Yeah, I'm muted. I like that theory, but I also know that we're probably so like bred to think Mephisto is everyone now that for once I wouldn't mind it being true. You know what I mean? Like it would be cool if that actually became a reality. So yeah, I think that would be fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'm with that.
So, in lieu of Kyle's temporary absence, I'll pivot us a little bit and just ask like a closing question, I guess, on the No Way Home trailer. I'm gonna call it Far From Home, like probably once a week. But for No Way Home, I guess like just wrapping that trailer up. Do you guys think we get there's between now and its actual release, at least as of this minute, right? I guess anything can happen, but hopefully they don't adjust that on us. So I guess the question is, hey, I guess the question I just wanted to raise to the panel would be, what do you expect additionally as far as promotional material goes between now and release? Like, are we getting another trailer of equal magnitude? Is it like we'll get another one that's a little bit longer, or like do we just hardly get anything else?
John?
I think that they're probably going to do the routine thing that they do for a Spider-Man movie. They're going to allow like Tom Holland to give us some like juicy detail that is only just gaslighting us.
Sort of like a controlled leak?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be not altogether too surprising. And they do love to kind of like play off of the whole him and is it Zendaya and I can't remember the other guy's name that plays his best friend. But I know that they're all kind of like in it together with the whole like we're just gonna spoil shit and we're gonna act like Kevin Feige didn't beat down our door about it and it's fine. So yeah, I think I can see that happening for sure.
I think
But
Jacob
yeah.
Batalon is the name.
There
of
he
the
is.
actor.
Yes, that is him. That is him.
I think we'll get a full-length final trailer, and
Yeah.
I think closer to the movie, they are absolutely going to confirm in trailer that Toby, Andrew, Willem Dafoe, Sandman. I think you're going to get a look at literally everyone that's going to be in this movie. Just so, like, if you were on the fence or you're thinking they were going to err on the side of being small in this movie, they're going to let you know they're going large to make sure that your ass is in a theater seat on December 17th.
Very good point.
Yeah, definitely.
Dude, I have two questions for y'all about this. Um, who do y'all think the Sinister Six will be? And do we get a Miles Morales or a Harry Osborn in this film?
I'm gonna let one of the comic book savvy folks answer that one.
Well, since they seem to be borrowing, or everyone is speculating that they're borrowing from One More Day, I don't. Just because I don't have any good rumors around them doing Miles Morales, I'm going to say no. But at the same time, the fact that they were going to go so big for this movie and not include Miles Morales, I think is a fuck up on their part. So Because if you were gonna like bring in alternate versions and do the multiverse, this is the perfect time to go back and correct the mistake of not making Donald Glover a live-action Miles Morales much sooner. So you could have done that for this movie. I don't think they will, but they absolutely should. As far as a Harry Osborn, I don't think we would. If we did it, it would be I think the Andrew Garfield one, since James Franco's pretty much canceled at this point for some of his behavior. So I think just cancel culture is going to kind of take that one out for us. But that's not to say we won't see an MCU Harry Osborn down the line, because you would think there's a Norman and a Harry in Tom Holland's timeline that just, that we haven't been exposed to yet.
So I think that because I feel like everyone's going to be forgetting Peter. Some turning of events is going to Nate, his best friend, into being his enemy, and I think that our Hobgoblin, and then he may go support Willem Dafoe, because who can't support Willem Dafoe? And
Me? Jesus.
Hold on. Willem Dafoe can do no wrong.
Oh, I thought you said who can support Willem Dafoe. I'm like, whoa, buddy, we all do.
Willem Dafoe is the best, Green Goblin, hands down.
No doubt.
And there's going to be some of people against him, because again, I think that we're gonna see Mephisto, and I think that Mephisto is the Doctor Strange that we see.
Oh, did y'all cover that while I was having technical issues?
We did.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
No, please,
Dude, tell us how you really feel, and we'll talk about it again.
So
Right.
I texted Jason earlier in the week that I'm not going Mephisto on this. I'm going Loki. Because there are plenty of storylines in the comics where Loki becomes a Sorcerer Supreme. Not plenty, but there's at least one. He demonstrated in the show that he knows magic, and from the show, we know that all time is kind of occurring concurrently. So I think it would be interesting to sneak him in and just kind of keep building on this mythos of the Loki character and expand him a little bit more ahead of season 2 of Loki, since we know he's staying in. And I think the point we all kind of made when WandaVision came out is that Mephisto, the actual devil, is a big thing to put on screen in a Marvel movie, and I think that point still stands for a Spider-Man movie. So I'm going to go Doctor Strange, not Mephisto, but Loki.
Kyle, I got to ask you something on that then. Just wanted to say, how many, Johnny, I apologize, but super quick, how many of you guys think that people, not myself, because we love Loki, probably all 4 of us, but how many people may or may not grow tired of anytime something super mischievous and off is going on, it just may as well be Loki? Are we fatigued by that premise yet? Or do we want it to be used so routinely, I guess would be the question.
Loki fatigue is a great point. I mean, I feel Tom Hiddleston does so good with that character that you could do something familiar with, hey, it's not really Doctor Strange, or, because we're all kind of giving Strange sidelong glances based on this trailer, but I think the Strange being Loki in this movie is enough of familiar with Loki, but you're also giving that character another chapter in being, or at least imitating, a Sorcerer Supreme. So, I mean, it's a risk. Marvel's always on the edge of becoming formulaic or overusing a character, but at the same time, there's the value of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So give us Tom Hiddleston until we get sick of him. The box office numbers and fan feedback will tell you when people are sick of Loki, and after season 1, it is not that time.
Very true.
I had a little bit of a question then, that it's kind of a sidebar, but it's based around what Marvel is becoming. So do you think, let's say we're seeing our Sorcerer Supreme, we're seeing our Mephisto. We're starting to see like some really, really powerful baddies. Still expecting this of other, in a sense, lower powered superheroes coming here. Like we're gonna possibly see Matt Murdock, and that's gonna lead us into the Defenders, and we're gonna see like that build up to X-Men. Do you think that this is like the start of like nerfing, so we're able to see them participate with like the Defenders and like the Agents of Shield just a little bit?
I will not be taking this one.
I don't.
Well, so
I don't.
one,
Yeah,
Colin,
I
I
don't.
cut
I
you
don't
off.
think
Go
they'll
ahead.
typically really go that route of like because Feige already had the Defenders and Agents of Shield at his grasp if he wanted them, and he just non-canonized them right off the bat. He's like, yeah, nah, this is not what you want. But like the resounding answer of fan calling, saying yes, we love Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock. That's the only reason I feel like that he's rumored to be in this. Like he he has all the parts of all the things that people loved about Marvel up until this point at his disposal, and he can just pick and choose from there of what he wants to add to his films and what he doesn't. I don't think Agents of Shield and the Defenders was enough well liked to form a Disney Plus show out of them yet, and really to give them their own property, and especially not really a movie right now.
That's fair. And because we're building stories right now, like we're in the process of building like Avengers. So we're having so many branches in these stories and these timelines that I wouldn't be disappointed to see certain villains return, like the Bushmaster from Luke Cage, because like that season just being horrible with a beautiful soundtrack. Like he was an amazing villain.
Yeah.
One point
You
I'll
know, and
make
just
on
like,
this.
yeah, go ahead.
So, last year during DC Fandom, DC basically just offered up the explanation to explain why they have Warner Brother movies, shitty WB TV shows, and then like DC Universe shows. They basically offered up the explanation that it was already all taking place across a multiverse. So I think Marvel doing the multiverse now can sort of piggyback off of DC's explanation and tell you eventually that like Defenders and Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Daredevil all took place in sort of another multiverse, while at the same time giving you Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock in this film, because he can be a blind lawyer or maybe even a sighted lawyer in this timeline, in this universe with Tom Holland. So you get exactly what you want, and you get the possibility of just sort of all lumping it together into one continuity going forward, now that Marvel is consolidating all of their properties under Marvel Studios. So
Chef's kiss.
they're not going to leave it all like hanging in the wind like DC has done. I mean, Marvel completing their merger with Fox is eventually going to put all of this under one roof, and then they're going to offer you sort of a palpable explanation as to how it will all fit together going forward.
Fair enough.
Collective agreement.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely feel like there's some things that Kevin Feige will still be like a little like egotistical to like leave out. Like I didn't have the opportunity to see Luke Cage or Jessica Jones or I think I believed I tried to start watching Iron Fist at one point, but I was just kind of out of it. Like it. Okay, so
Iron Fist sucked.
okay, perfect. I think Kevin Feige's a little too like he's like, yeah, no matter what we do, I don't want that to be in the MCU or even thought of in the MCU really at all. Like maybe in some sort of way off universe that did happen, but there can also be a universe where just Charlie Cox existed and just that Kingpin existed, and they just them fought each other. instead of all of them being together. And I think that might be sort of like the route that they go with. I don't. I think he's already kind of turned it down, and I don't think he's gonna like go back on that now.
The multiverse of good shit, the multiverse of not so good shit.
Of-
Does
pretty
Marvel want to be
mediocre
careful
shit.
with
Shit.
the multiverse,
Mediocre
considering Ben Affleck played Daredevil too? Like
I don't
Yeah,
want that back.
he can see better than all of us, but still gives us the dirt face.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't hate that movie. So
Yeah, who
No, I
did?
didn't either.
Colin
Probably
Farrell.
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell's Bullseye actually, like, he did it for me.
I can still picture him throwing that goddamn dart in that bar scene like it just happened last night.
That is the best scene of the movie, honestly. Like,
Leave it in
Yeah,
your
agreed.
grades, bud.
If I could get like a multiverse movie that is just Bullseye killing Jennifer Garner, I would actually watch that.
Was that soundtrack not also done by Nickelback at Three Doors Down or something like that?
ooh.
It was
Like
something
2000
super 2002.
Yeah, everything was done by Three Doors Down and Nickelback.
Right.
So this is an off the cuff question
Okay.
because Marvel can do things in sort of a predictable way. So I want to zoom in on the Russo brothers, starting off with Winter Soldier, which was kind of a bigger Captain America movie, but still sort of small in scale. And then they got progressively bigger in scale with Civil War, and then Infinity War, and then Endgame. If we think John Watts is doing that as well, so with Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, Fantastic Four will be his fourth movie with Marvel, and his first one sort of away from Sony within the Marvel Studios family. So how big do you think they go with our Fantastic Four movie, considering that's a reboot? Do we start small like we did with Spider-Man, or do we go, is Fantastic Four going to be like on par with an Avengers movie?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I feel like it's gonna be typical. You know, they fight one villain in this movie, they beat him, and then they move on. They move their interest on to the next. But that could be a very, very good opportunity to introduce Doctor Doom in that film, who could be the next Kang the Conqueror, who could be the next Thanos that they fight over 3 phases of movies. I think that we could get that, and I'm sort of hoping for that because I need a new couple of faces that I know. Okay, this is the team that we kind of need to back right now.
Man, still the key here because he's like that hero who's been every team, and with us getting like the multiverse right here, I think that we may see at some point, but a Spider-Man with like maybe a Johnny Storm before they receive their powers, because of course he did join the Fantastic Four at one point, so it's one of those things I think we may get up, but we may see a little bit later.
So I'm going to just throw in like a hot take, and I almost don't anticipate this will happen, but because they've done it before, I'm just going to put it on the table because it's been put on the table before. Remember when we got introduced to Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and it was not in a solo film of his?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to throw it out there that it doesn't sound off any alarms for me to assume that the Fantastic Four, or a member or two of the Fantastic Four, could insert themselves into like a larger group or ensemble sort of picture where they're kind of like where Carol Danvers comes in at the end of Endgame and you're like, oh god, we just saw Captain Marvel. It wasn't even amazing, but that's a different discussion. But here she is to save the day. It would be cool to see the Fantastic Four kind of jump in this weird, chaotic moment, and you have to kind of adjust really quickly that you're actually seeing them and they're really there, but not enough to get you anything else. And then you're just blue balling for another year and a half when their film comes out. You know what I mean? I don't anticipate it, but fun thought.
Okay, so if they were going to do that, Cody, which property do you think you would want to see a member or two in?
I would really like it to be Spider-Man.
Oh, wow.
I would like him to come across some need to have like the intelligence that is Reed Richards, and normally you maybe you even have this moment where Peter's kind of like, man, I would have really used Tony for this, right? And somehow he stumbles upon maybe even posthumously maybe Tony leads him to reach out to Reed Richards in some other crazy multiverse of possibility, and then he does, and then of course Reed's wife or whatever she might be in the film could be the second one we see in that instance.
I would
Again,
like
doubt it,
She-Hulk.
but cool.
So She-Hulk actually has replaced Thing a few times as kind of like the tank in the group. So there's alternatively Future Foundation comics where She-Hulk is a member of the team while the Fantastic Four are on. So like they have a relationship. So if the rumors are true that this atrium in Avengers Tower is now basically the Baxter Building, so I would love to see She-Hulk popping in there and getting introduced to like Reed or whoever happens to be there at that time, because they do have kind of a cordial relationship within the Marvel universe, and so that is kind of a far enough down the line where you could get a late casting for the Fantastic Four and insert them in like a reshoot for She-Hulk.
Is anyone else tired of the disrespect given to Bruce Banner as a scientist now? Because they go to everyone that's not him at this point for the questions about science.
Well,
They're probably going to Edward Norton though. So.
They asked him about time travel, and he's like, "It's not really my field." I mean,
if it ain't
working on a rom-com, bro. Leave me alone.
It ain't
kind of like you need to see a technician for that.
That pain, that deep pain right there.
I do sort of love that though, Kyle, because right now, as someone who's not very comic savvy and didn't know the things you just told me about She-Hulk, like I think it would be super dope to have this sudden mega reason to watch She-Hulk because I'm finding out that there's some tie-in to maybe the Fantastic Four. Like as someone who's maybe not super engaged with the character, that would certainly get my attention. Not that I was going to watch it anyway, but you get it.
Oh, they are, and honestly, the fact that you're going to do the Fantastic Four and She-Hulk gives me hope that they eventually do a Future Foundation. I mean, this would be years down the line when like the Fantastic Four just take off on like an intergalactic family vacation. And sort of my favorite iteration of it was you had Ant-Man, you had She-Hulk, you had Medusa from the Inhumans, and you had like the Lady Thing, who was like some actress in a Thing like powered suit. I forget what her actual name is, but the comic was written by Matt Fraction, and it was absolutely hilarious. So, like, which I would like to see. It was actually kind of grown up too. It's basically like reading an episode of Archer. So, if Marvel could actually zero in on that a little bit for me, I would be very okay with it. So we have a couple of notes from our producer. So, one, he mentions that his theory is that Doctor Strange is actually Wanda. So, that's interesting. Let's see.
But where does this hoodie come from, man? Jesus.
Let's see. End of No Way Home, Tom Holland will get lost in a different timeline and leave our sacred timeline. Strange will bring him back towards the end of Multiverse of Madness, per the title No Way Home. Also, my hot take is during the void of Tom Holland, Spider-Man will get Miles Morales while Tom Holland is gone.
Bold suggestions, producer.
Wow.
Very bold.
Just demonetize us now.
Yeah.
What kind of mattress does everyone sleep on? Do you have your athletic greens?
Did you take your Roman pills before the show started?
TWM's been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
Dude, that would be a good gig for us. It seems timeless, It seems like everyone needs people reaching out to them about their car's extended warranty. So they're the job is forever. I don't want to count out the Fantastic Four being in Ant-Man, Quantumania. I definitely feel like that in Doctor Strange are going to hold just as much weight in the MCU as the other. Um, I, I know like Ant-Man up to this point doesn't really feel like it's held so much weight, but they always held a big element in the film into that led into like the next Avengers movie or into the next big thing. I mean, I definitely think Fantastic Four could be introduced there, maybe some variants of the four. Um, like, but hopefully by that point we'll get to see the actors casted to play them. At least that.
I would hope to see that too. And I will say this about the MCU. They take the Ant-Man character far more seriously than the comic books do. I mean, if you think about it, Ant-Man has done some of the coolest shit that you've seen on screen. So, like, becoming Giant Man at the airport fight in Civil War to me was one of the best moments of the movie.
And it's so downplayed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, typical Paul Rudd, does anyone have any orange slices?
Slices?
And in Endgame, he becomes Giant Man again, and, I love the scene of him straight up punching, the demon shark thing in the air. It's fucking amazing. So, the whole time heist was his idea. So,
Yeah.
one of the things that infuriates me, and, this goes back to the beginning of Marvel, is just how non-serious the Ant-Man comics are. Now, early Tales to Astonish, they take Hank Pym seriously, but his villains are just shit. One of the issues I was read, he takes on Trago, the jazz musician, and that's the upper end of Ant-Man villains, and it hasn't really gotten any better. So I think the MCU has done a great job weaving Ant-Man into the fabric of Marvel better and letting him interact with the mainline villains where he's actually cool, which segues into this week's What If episode, because heavy spoilers to come, it is Hank Pym as Stinger straight up fucking murdering all of them, which he could absolutely do.
Yeah.
In the comics, that shrinking and growing tech is it's almost a joke at this point, but you can see it has some very serious and lethal applications in this week's What If. What say you, panel?
Yeah, dude. What an episode. I know Cody broke that down already, man, but that was yeah. Every What If episode from here on has become my new favorite one because of how they're really not afraid to do whatever the hell they want to on this show. And that was so freaking cool to see. What if the world lost its mightiest heroes? I believe that the title was called, and they did just that. I felt like I am in a Marvel canon property, and it feels like that, man. It was such a cool episode. But Hank Pym, man, I mean that ruthless motherfucker, to be honest.
Hats off to Michael Douglas too.
Yeah.
Yeah, great voice acting.
And
the
and
animation I felt was very on point for him as well. Even the sort of crazed dark circles under his eyes, it was very believable that he would be out for revenge after his daughter getting killed in the line of service and losing his wife as well. So it played so well off his story and showed how great and horrible his tech and mind can be.
And it also was go ahead.
I like the juxtaposition of this week's episode compared to last week, because last week was all the warm feels, a send-off for the late Chadwick Boseman, who, JD, as you mentioned, it is the 1-year anniversary of his death today. So you go from feeling so great, high five, Star-Lord, he's the best, and then you go very dark on the next one. So I love that I don't quite know what to expect from episode week to week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just piggybacking right off of that, I think tonally it was so different, and I think And I mentioned this on my review, also on the same YouTube channel that you're watching this on. It has like no views, so do me a favor. I'm kidding. Whenever you want to, it's really fine. But honestly, I think what I super liked about it was that it was literally a murder mystery, right? I mean, what other property have you watched of Marvel's where you were trying to figure something out the entire time, and I really like that in a matter of really a minute to 2 minutes at most, you get a character that we haven't seen as a villain be a villain, and you also give him motivations that are super believable and like almost above like a Thanos level of like, yeah, we get it, like you're already empathizing with a character that you met like 60 seconds ago, and that was really impressive writing to me.
Yeah. They're getting better and better at doing that. Like them introducing classic Loki in the Loki series. Like I've never felt more connected, and then to a character that I just met, 20 minutes prior, and then next thing you know, I'm like, oh my God, like this man's dead. Like one of my favorite on screen, I guess whatever on screen performances in a Marvel film or show yet.
And I like how the episode like pivots to Loki, where you've got this very personal revenge tale, and then it ends with, "Oh yeah, Loki finally got a dub. He just took over the Earth."
By the way,
two L's make a dub.
I just want to know what happened to Paul Rudd at the end of it. Just like we got to find out what happened to Peter, I would have loved to know what he was doing as he never became Ant.
I guess he was still in jail at that point.
I was gonna say, I like to imagine he was in prison.
Yeah, maybe. I would.
Yeah.
What if they just like cut to a scene and it was just like Paul Rudd just like getting pounded in the shower, like
Paul Rudd is the new Black.
This was the darkest episode.
Oh yeah.
So closing it out, we are 6 days away from Shang-Chi. And early reviews are putting this on par with Winter Soldier, which I'm not going to assume how you guys feel about Winter Soldier, but for me it is probably my favorite standalone movie. It's very close with that and Thor Ragnarok. So that's high praise for kind of a B-list character entering in this very established universe. So on the one hand, I am supremely hyped that it is garnering this high of praise. On the other hand, I am supremely anxious because I don't like things being built up for me before I've had a chance to form my own opinion. So what is everyone looking for in Shang-Chi?
I wanted to be... go ahead, JT. I'm sorry, I've been interrupting everyone.
It's just one word, fight choreography. We're like with Marvel movies, they're continuing to push the limit of what they can do with the choreography, and this one being like focused directly on hand-to-hand combat. I'm curious for cinematography and like the choreography of like what they plan to do with this like mostly martial arts type character.
Word.
That's all.
Pete?
So I very generally will describe my hopes for this movie as if it's just Mortal Kombat with better acting and it lives in the MCU, you've already like sold me on it, and I feel like, JD, to your point, I feel like we already have just been, I've read some of the reviews. I've tried to steer away as best as possible for anything spoiler related. And so far, none have really poured out except some things about Mandarin, but we'll leave that off the table. I do think that just the cinematography and the fight sequences alone will be enough to pull people in who don't even super care about the fact that this is just a B character. They're just like, whoa, kick-ass martial arts movie, like, say no more. So it's going to pull in a different crowd. It's also going to entice the original crowd. And for me, I think there's some sequences in the trailer, and again, coming from a very non-comic book savvy background, there's a scene in particular where Shang-Chi's shown underwater, like face-to-face with some dragon-like figure, and then you see shots of just this like massive, like almost, LOTR-style battle sequence. And I think that those things combined give such a feel of like, this is an epic that might stand on its own 2 feet really well without even knowing how Shang-Chi might tie into the bigger picture. I just am hopeful for a solid standalone film, and if I leave with it being a 7.5, 8 out of 10, I'm more than pleased for that to be that character's intro.
Word.
Cullen, final word to you.
Yeah, man. I haven't seen any reviews or anything. The first thing I heard about how people are taking it is what you said about the Winter Soldier thing, which is obviously my favorite standalone film in the Marvel universe, and so that makes me excited for it. But I don't think anything is gonna contain my excitement for this film because I don't know how long it's been since I've like gotten a film from Marvel where I have no backstory on who the character is. I have no idea what to expect, and that alone is enough for me to put me in the chair and go and see it. I mean, even though I would have seen it anyway. But I'm so excited for this film. I mean, it's so different than anything they've released yet. I mean, what it seems like to be in the trailer. So like everything that's exciting everyone else is what's exciting me, and I'm just ready for it, dude. Like I'm ready to get my butt in the chair. I'm ready to grab some popcorn and see something that Marvel's releasing to the public. Like that's what I'm excited for, and yeah, well if it's I'm sure it's going to be a good movie. In Kevin we trust. So
And in Rick Ross, who appears on the soundtrack, ladies and gentlemen.
exactly, in Ross we trust.
Oh,
Oh,
What was he eating to keep himself skinny? Pears? Is that what he said?
I think
Pears?
so. Pears
Yeah, it's
and
pears.
like mineral water.
Yeah. If I get to see Shang-Chi eating some pears, then I mean the movie's 10 out of 10 for me. Anything else, 9 out of 10.
yeah. It's a standard we're setting.
All right, Hurricane panel. I think that's a good place to leave it. Anyone have any closing thoughts before we call it an evening?
Not really, man. This is my first time on camera, though, guys. I love y'all. Thank y'all for having me.
Absolutely. You're welcome back anytime. JD, I'm assuming because of Hurricane, we will not see Black and Marvel tomorrow night.
Nah, bro. We shoot in advance because we expect a storm here in our great home, so you will see an episode.
Okay.
So stay tuned. We're
For those who
keeping
have power, there will be an episode of Black and Marvel tomorrow.
There you go.
Or LTE, if you're willing to use it. Or have it.
Remember, when
Use
that
that
battery
data
gets
plan.
below 20, you still got enough to watch our episode.
That is very true.
Right. To our viewers, thank you for stopping by tonight. This has been Saturday Night Marvel. Be sure to like, subscribe, share the Tonight We Marvel page. Mr. JD below me does our wonderful show Black and Marvel, and Mr. Cody Peoples is now 3 episodes in to Peep This Review. If you want a great quality breakdown of the value of the production value of every MCU show, check out Peep This Review, dropping weekly. Good night, my friends. Be safe. I will see you all soon.
We love you.
Love y'all. Peace.